Hey everyone, I'm Nick and welcome back to Sci-Finatics. Or if this happens to be your first time here, please don't forget to click away on that subscribe button to stay up to date with all the latest Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek news on YouTube. Today I'm talking to you guys about episode 5 of Star Trek Discovery Season 3 entitled Die Trying. What an episode this was. We got to reunite with the Starfleet and the Federation. Discovery got a whole new mission to get out there and start fixing up the galaxy again. So let's take a look through the episode and see what we can learn. Well, what a cool opening sequence this episode had. Not only did we have a captain's log and a nice little exchange between Burnham and Saru in the lead up to this episode, but we finally found out what's going on with Starfleet and the Federation. They're not on a planet at all. In fact, I was speculating in a couple of my earlier videos this week about what these streaks were on the windows. And we couldn't work out. It looked like rain, it looked like a tractor beam or something like that, but it is in fact a distortion field. The Federation isn't on a planet at all. They are in a massive distortion field which is powered by all of the Federation starships that reside within it. It's like a massive starbase with like a rainforest in it. And I've got to say, the opening scene of this episode, it gave me goosebumps. Just them arriving, all the wonder and joy from the crew, with them looking out the window and like seeing all the new starships and saying, wow, look at this, wow, look at that, getting to see the Voyager J. That was a great moment. I think this is the first time in a Star Trek series that we've seen another Federation starship, apart from the Enterprise of course, take on the alphanumeric designations A, B, C, D, E and so forth for subsequent versions of that starship. And in a homage to Aaron Eisenberg, who sadly passed away recently, we see the USS Nog here in the background as one of the Federation ships that the Discovery flies past. Just the happiness and the joy and jubilation of the crew that they finally reached their destination. It was really one of those kind of moments, I thought, that was just kind of gave you a few goosebumps watching it, I think. And just at the end of the scene, you know, as they're beaming over onto the Federation starbase and the Star Trek anthem plays whilst all the crew are kind of just looking with such hope. It was a really nice opening moment for this episode. Next we get a look at the new Starfleet uniforms for this time period. And it would seem like they're pretty much an entire grey suit with a stripe down the left-hand side of their jacket denoting command, engineering and tactical, or sciences. And it's good to see they've kept the same colour scheme going back to Next Generation and Beyond era. The scene with the Starfleet Admiral was sort of a bittersweet one. It was good to be back and good to be getting orders from Starfleet and the Federation and so forth. The Admiral was very dubious about their story. It doesn't add up for him. There's no record of them leaving and travelling into the future. It was all swept under the rug and covered up and everything, so he's got nothing to go on. He's wanting to maintain the Federation and Starfleet as best he can, but Saru and Burnham don't want to see the Discovery crew split up, so it's sort of an awkward position. We find out as well that the temporal accords that were established in Star Trek Enterprise with Daniels and so forth talking to Archer are still in place, and the fact that they've travelled through time is in fact a breaking of those accords, and they could be prosecuted because of it. So things are certainly a little bit tense here with our crew. And these latest orders from the Admiral have got Burnham a bit wound up. It seems like in the 1 year that she's been apart from the Discovery, maybe her opinions and respective chain of command has kind of loosened a little bit. She sort of wants to get out there and, you know, just get stuck in, do some good. Whereas Saru's very much, nah, we've got to stick by the book, we've got to do things, and what the Admiral says, we're part of Starfleet, we're part of the Federation, we've got to do what we're told, and Burnham's a bit resistant to this. I think she's sort of spent the last year just with her and Book, and maybe isn't used to kind of, you know, following that whole chain of command element as rigidly as she once did. So all of our crew get interrogated by the holographic AI interrogators. The fact that all of their voices are reverbing or modulating or whatever, it's like, are these guys an advanced version of holograms or AI from when we last saw AI back in the 24th century? Because none of the androids or holograms back then had wavering voices like this, you know. So it's, you know, seems like 1,000 years. Surely you can get a voice processor that doesn't reverberate, unless this was sort of a choice to make sure that I don't know, AI are clearly identifiable, perhaps. Other than that, just seemed odd that AI are potentially less technologically advanced than they were when last we saw them back in, say, Picard's era. I love the scene with Giorgio rapidly blinking at the holograms to, like, basically crash them. She kind of identifies them pretty soon, works out how they work, while David Cronenberg watches on. By blinking at them rapidly, ends up freaking out their, I don't know, hollow matrix and crashing them. Cuts through the BS, so to speak, and gets right to the point. And despite the Admiral being very sceptical still and very untrusting of Discovery and their crew, wanting to split everybody up and chuck everybody off the ship and put a new crew on the ship, and, you know, Burnham's not too happy about this, manages to reluctantly bring the Admiral around to letting them go on the mission to see if they can recover the plant samples from an old ship to help this infectious disease, you know, that this race called the Keeley are infected with. Sort of like sending a team back to Wuhan to find patient zero so that they can find a cure for coronavirus, I guess. So there's some interesting parallels here in this episode to present day. So after tractor beaming the Tikov out of the nebula or the storm and beaming on board the ship that's been around for like 500 years, cataloguing and collecting samples of seeds and plants and all sort of stuff from around the galaxy, is manned by a family of Barzans, which is the same race as Security Chief Nhan. So she's obviously looking forward to seeing her people again, having not had any kind of opportunity to go home or anything like that before they left. And there aren't too many Barzans floating about the galaxy, so she's sort of eager to be part of the away mission. When the away team board the Tikov, the ship is filled with plants. There's plants growing everywhere. There's like flowers and there's like bushes and trees and stuff going out all over the place, which kind of reminds me a little bit of that Lower Decks episode. There was all plants and stuff ripping through the hull and everything. Now, we don't learn anything tangible about the burn from the David Cronenberg Section 31 guy, but we do find out that the Mirror Universe or the Terran Empire, there hasn't been a crossing from the Prime Universe into the Terran Universe for about 500 years, and that the Terran Empire have blown itself out of existence, or they're extinct, or something to that effect. Now, upon finding the Barzan family that's sort of overseeing the seed ship, we find out that the mother and the two daughters have unfortunately passed away. They're in stasis pods, but they've long since perished, and the father is the only one left. The other interesting mystery is the fact that the mother and the daughter are humming this tune. Now, this is the same tune that we heard Adira playing on the cello as Admiral Senatal in the last episode. So it seems somewhat unlikely and even impossible that people from different ends of the galaxy, separated by years, could all know the same tune. I've got to say, I'm a little bit surprised that Security Officer Nhan is leaving with this episode. I was going to say, like, oh, it's good she's getting a bit more screen time and she's coming on the away mission. We're getting to learn a bit more about her and her character. And just as we learned a bit more about her and her character, she says bye-bye. And she's staying on board the seed ship to finish its mission and to take it back to Barzan where it started, to uphold and to maintain the catalogue of Federation's history of plant life over the last 500 years. Just when we thought we were getting to know this character a little bit better, she leaves us. Oh well. So after completing their mission, bringing back the seeds, Culber finds a cure. Burnham and Saru put it to the Admiral that they continue doing their thing for the Federation, and they ask a few more questions about the burn, and we don't get a clear answer. Apparently there's just so many theories out there in the universe that nobody knows what the hell happened. Everybody's got a point of view on it. There's no hard evidence. It's all very vague. So obviously we're going to just have to leave that to the crew of the Discovery to work it out, because Starfleet and everybody else aren't helping at all in this department. And I'm not sure what happened to Giorgio in that little interrogation room with our David Cronenberg, but she's now staring into space. Burnham's trying to ask her questions. She's like completely zoned out. Maybe she asked a few too many questions about the burn, or maybe she found out some piece of information that she's been programmed not to reveal or something, but clearly something very strange going on with Giorgio. It's a nice scene at the end with Burnham and Saru looking out the window of the Discovery. They're looking up, they're looking forward, there's hope, there's the promise of mysteries to be solved, answers to be explored, and new adventures to be had. Any good TV show will do the thing where they constantly ask questions. They have to answer questions to make us feel satisfied as an audience, which they've done in this episode by revealing the location of Federation and Starfleet. We've ticked that box now. But a good TV show will continue to ask more questions to keep us hooked in. And that's what they've done in this episode with the whole notion of this musical theme that's stuck in everybody's head. The fact that Giorgio is lapsing into kind of like a trance and there's something weird going on with her. So there's more questions being raised. There's questions being answered, but there's also questions being raised as well. And any good TV show will continue to do that. This show is definitely feeling like Star Trek now. It's taken a couple of seasons to find its feet, but it's well and truly there. And I think this season it's progressing really, really well. It's interesting storytelling. The characters are engaging. It's got a heart and a soul to the show now. We care about the characters, and I can't wait to find out what is happening in the next half or half and a bit of this season. But what did you think of the episode? Did you love it? I loved it. Leave a comment in the comment section, as always. Don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and check out merchandise, Patreon. It all helps support the channel. I really appreciate all your views, and I'll see you guys very soon for my next video.